Hello, my friends. Welcome back. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge, and I'm delighted to see you again, as always. I say it all the time, but it's true every single day. So thank you for joining me. Let's take a nice breath and release what we're holding on to. Make the ah sound. Let the breathing come back to normal and come into the heart and shine from the heart outward. So happy again to be here with you because I want to talk about maintaining motivation when we start feeling like we can't keep going. You know, when things start feeling futile, like what's going on in the world around us. And so we want to remember that everything is a fractal, as above, so below. Everything is actually a metaphor for everything else. When you learn one discipline well, you can apply it to other disciplines. When you learn chess well, you can apply it to life. And that happens in every area. You can apply the principles to business to life. You can apply the principles to teaching to life. Whatever it is that you learn really well, you can use that to understand how to deal with the challenges of life. And so one of those things is fighting. I've been interested in fighting my whole life. In fact, my original thing that kind of brought me to a life of practice was that TV show Kung Fu. And the very first thing that drew me to it was this man could defend himself. And I was in a situation where I couldn't defend myself. So I was very interested in that. And gradually, understanding that and talking about that led me to principles of Taoism and Buddhism and lots of other philosophies, Christian mysticism. So I want to suggest to you that if you learn the principles of fighting, that you also will be able to apply that to being more effective in life. And I was just watching a YouTube channel by the name of Fight Science, and they were talking about this idea of how to get your opponent to lose the will to fight. And those same principles about how to get your opponent to lose the will to a fight also apply to you when you lose the will to keep going, when you lose the will to maintain the forward momentum to make progress. So the three areas that he talked about was, number one was fatigue. You know, when people become fatigued, I think it was Vince Lombardi who said fatigue makes cowards of us all. When you become fatigued, you lose that will to keep going. When you are not taking care of yourself, when you're not sleeping enough, when you're not taking breaks, you need to recognize that in order to keep that forward progress, you have to find a way to deal with fatigue. And one of those things is to train. When you train to develop your ability to keep going, you know, as fighters do, you know, they do their road work, they exercise. You know, in every sport, if you work on becoming well conditioned, you're going to be more effective in that sport. And that's true in life as well. It's one of the major reasons I suggest to my clients that they do these 40-day practices, picking something for 40 days and working to develop your skills in that area, picking things that don't seem related to your challenge. Learning to play guitar, learning a language, anything at all for 40 days, continuing a consistent focus in that area. It allows us to firewall ourselves from the challenges that we're dealing with, and it allows us to find that deeper ability to not get so tired. So, number one, focusing on how to deal with fatigue. Number two, second thing is, he says that is we have to accept that there's going to be damage. There's going to be damage. When you're in a fight, the other person is going to hurt you. When you're in a situation with a challenging life, there's going to be times that life is going to hurt. And so when we understand that, when we understand that we're going to take damage, when we understand that we're going to lose people we love, or perhaps lose jobs, or even have things that we find very, very important that are going to go ways that we don't want. Maybe our children are not going the way that we had hoped. They're not going the path that we had hoped. When we realize that we're going to take damage, such as the damage that we're all taking in Ukraine right now, that is damaging you. We are all connected through the heart. So what's going on in Ukraine, or what's going on in Syria, on some level, if you have an open heart, it is hurting you. So we have to accept this. Our resistance to not wanting things to be the way they are, is a big part of what fatigues us. I spent almost 15 years working in a chronic pain clinic, off and on. And one of the things I learned is the difference between people who were able to experience that effectively and those who weren't were the ones who weren't always lamenting how unfair it was, how it shouldn't have happened, why did this happen to me? In acceptance of what is, we find the ability to find resources to get to actually where we want to be. In acceptance of what is, we find elements that are exactly what we need. So first is finding ways to manage fatigue. Second is the acceptance of what is. Third is your motivation. Yeah, it happens in acting as well. The actors are taught, what is your motivation? Why is your character doing what they're doing? Napoleon Hill tells us to find a burning desire. What is your desire? It's like that idea, you don't mess with a mama bear. When you mess with a mama bear, they will fight. If you mess with a woman's child who is committed to motherhood, that is a dangerous situation. So when you know what you're working for and you have a burning desire to see it come to pass, not just taking care of your children, but the values even beyond that, those essential values, I've talked about mine many times: kindness, compassion, joy. And joy is being in contact with that burning desire and making progress towards it, and positive indifference. Not having one thing that you say, well, if this happens, I'm not going to love my life. No, your love for your life is like the rays of the sun. It shines in every direction. It's like a mirror that reflects anything that comes in front of it. So having this really strong burning desire gives us the power to connect with all these things. And by the way, they all connect together. When you develop more ability to handle fatigue, you will find the ability to accept damage and accept what is. And when you find the ability to accept what is, you will be in better position to find your burning desire and not be blocked by the negativity of what's happening. So find a way to keep going today. Don't let life sap your will. You can make this choice if you choose to. If you simply develop the ability to have less fatigue, to accept what is, and to find that burning desire that is motivational. I'm going to ring the bell and I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Thank you so very much. I'm determined. And I'm determined in a way that is not based on popularity. If no one watches these videos, I'll keep doing them. And I'm asking you to be determined to make a difference in your life. I'm going to bring my hands into prayer position and bow to you. Thank you so very much. Namaste.